From the murky waters of the sportsman's paradise, stories emerge. Stories of the generations of people who have shared in the bounties of the land. Stories of communities that have persevered through natural disasters. Stories of the abundance of fish, wildlife, and adventures that create an ecosystem rich in diversity. And from the silted banks of the mighty Mississippi to the soggy marsh bottoms, from the tops of towering pine forests to the depths of the salty Gulf, human and animal have shared this fortune for centuries. Enjoy these stories as told by outdoor journalists who travel across our state, documenting the adventure, sportsmanship, and heritage that make us Bayou Wild.
Welcome to Bayou Wild. We're here in Madisonville at our home base of Morton Seafood Restaurant right on the banks of the Tchefuncte River. Great food here. If you've never been, you definitely need to come say hello. We're here 2 Mondays out of the month. We're in the middle of the day, right when everyone wants to eat. So come check it out. We got a great show for you today, though. The holidays are coming up. You know, I know a lot of people that when they want something, they just go buy it for themselves. So why not give somebody the gift of a fishing trip, something that they maybe don't want to actually spend the money on or just can't put it all together?
Honestly, if you shop in a guide, so you look online, everyone seems to be the best. Everyone catches the most fish. You know, it's like what area? So the thing is, if I own a boat and I want to learn, I want to go with the guys who are giving the most knowledge that I can take home. So do I want to go catch 1,000 fish? Yeah. But I think I'm going to spend a little more time with the guy who is actually willing to teach. And the way you're going to find this out is you got to kind of talk to people. So really word of mouth it can help you or hurt you. In my business, it helps because, you know, good news travels, but bad news travels really fast. You know, but the thing is, do your homework, talk to people, find the guy's reputation, and make sure it fits your bill.
Speaking of Christmas gifts, rods and reels. That is a very popular Christmas gift, but it's not so easy to pick out what to get for someone.
Yeah, if you don't know anything about rods and reels, how are you going to know what to buy?
We've got somebody that knows a lot about them and can give you some advice on making the right choice.
If you were a novice that didn't have a lot of experience with the rod and reel, I would certainly rely on one of our local retailers that sell them all the time. People like Gus's and Puglia's, Sanji's Sporting Goods down there in Metairie. So all of those would be a great source of setting you up with a first-timer's rod and reel or a veteran. So there's many different ones, as we know, but that's who I would rely on. The retailer himself could help you.
And of course, we've got our very own John Folse. He actually not only cooks a lot, but he puts out some pretty fantastic books that make great gifts. So we're going to talk to him about his cookbooks. He's got several. They're more like encyclopedias with John Folse.
They're doing what they've always done to make the duck and the deer and all of that so nice. What I'm changing a little bit today is treating that game and that fish in a way that I want to elevate it. I want people to know that not only do we have the best product, we have the best product to come and visit Louisiana to catch and hunt, but then when you get it home, don't throw it in the freezer. Don't just sit there and cook it to death. That's why I wrote the book After the Hunt.
Closed captioning made possible by Ceto.com. Become a member. Discover the taste of Louisiana that's seasoned just right. Boiled to perfection. Enriched with tradition. A taste that's savory, crispy, and a little sweet. Discover the taste of Louisiana fish fry products. If you're lucky enough to bag a deer or a hog this season, bring it here to Double D. Double D processes hogs and exotic game and guarantees your product is always the meat you brought to Double D.
Double D Meats in Bogalusa, home of country smoked, spicy jalapeno cheddar, and other customized flavors.
Bring your deer or your hog here to Double D, where you always get your meat back in return. It's worth a drive to Bogalusa from anywhere. Double D.
So when you give the gift of a fishing trip, there's a few things you need to know to go along with it. There's licensing, there's finding the right guide, there's planning the right date and getting that date booked in time because people fill up, especially in the busy months. We're going to tell you everything you need to know about giving the gift of a fishing trip.
I got a crankbait in his mouth. It is hard work, pay off. Honestly, if you shopping a guide, so you look online, everyone seems to be the best. Everyone catches the most fish. You know, it's like what area. So the thing is, if I own a boat and I want to learn, I want to go with the guys who give me the most knowledge that I can take home. So do I want to go catch 1,000 fish? Yeah. But I think I'm gonna spend a little more time with the guy who's actually willing to teach. And the way you can find this out is you gotta kind of talk to people. So really word of mouth is it can help you or hurt you. In my business, it helps because good news travels, but bad news travels really fast. But the thing is, do your homework, talk to people, find the guy's reputation, and make sure it fits your bill.
He's gonna make it or he's not, but he made it. Well, as guides, I would say most of us fish with a wide variety of skill levels, and that's just part of the job, helping your client, educate your client so that he's going to have success. The more successful he is, the more likely he's going to come back.
Question?
And I'll grab my bait cast, which has some wood. All righty, I'm liking it.
Finger savers. This little thing right here. 12 and 8. We'll take it. Woo. I guess the biggest warning with someone would be, no doubt when people just start into the business, don't mean they're not good. The biggest thing is, you probably wouldn't know the warnings until you got on the boat and realized, oh, this ain't my guy. But personalism is real, it's all about the service. This is a service business. So if you're not getting that service, it might be your first and last trip with that guy, but honestly, it's gonna be hands-on and recommendations by friends.
This will make a fine spectrum trout. I don't think it is though. It's a red one. Boy, he ate it. Even though it felt like a soft bite to me, you can't even see that. There you go. Come on, give me those skills. I got it. No, it's very simple. We print up gift certificates to a specific recipient, and that'll be given as a gift, and then that recipient can call me and set up a mutually agreeable date.
If you own a boat, and if you don't actually use that boat at least once a month, you probably shouldn't own the boat. If you took that money you spent, that $50,000 in today's market, $80,000, and divided it up amongst the 5 years you're gonna have it, all the downtimes, the down batteries, scratching your head, where to go, the bent prop shafts, the mornings where it's too cold and weather's bad and you don't know where to go. Sometimes it's best just to hire a guy that don't even own a boat. So you can write it off, look at it that way, and also too, you can put the monkey in someone else. If they don't catch fish, you blame it on the guy.
All right, got them both. Bring them on in here. Look at that nice, pretty trout, man. So now you've selected the trip you want to go on. Maybe it's time to get your own gear or give the gift of fishing gear to someone.
Absolutely.
Not easy to do.
No.
Rods, reels, there's so many of them out there. It can be very, very confusing. We try to cut through some of the clutter and help you make the right decision on a rod and reel as a fishing gift.
If you were a novice that didn't have a lot of experience with the rod and reel, I would certainly rely on one of our local retailers that sell them all the time. People like Gus's and Puglia's, Sanji's Sporting Goods down there in Metairie. So all of those would be a great source of setting you up with a first-timer's rod and reel or a veteran. So there's many different ones, as we know, but that's who I would rely on. The retailer himself could help. A gift card to a particular sporting goods store, and then he can go pick out what he likes and get personalized information from the owners or the staff there at the store.
When I think of the people who helped me along the way to get where we are today, I tell you what, I can just look over Louisiana and say, everybody. Look at the ingredients from the swamp floor. Look at the gardens of Louisiana. Look at the fishermen and the hunters out there that's just so passionate about what they do. Go to these hunting camps. Let me tell you what, I've learned more about cooking going to sit around an old cast iron pot at a duck camp and watching some old guy who's been elevated to the greatest position you can possibly be. Not the camp owner, the cook. The cook in these camps are relegated to royalty.
Hi, I'm Donnie Rouse. There are a lot of different reasons to shop at Rouses.
It's the people. Everybody that works here is just so nice.
Our stores get deliveries 7 days a week.
They have such a wide variety at Rouses. Everything's in stock. I mean, everything.
We use Rouse family recipes and ingredients found right here in the store.
It's the food. Rouse's food tastes like homemade.
And they're local.
Like us.
We also have great prices.
That's the difference Rouses makes.
If you hunt or fish, you really need to check out 20echo.com. It's an app that you can take on the water or on the hunt. It logs all the information. It's got the date, the GPS location, tons of information to log your catch or kill. It's a great thing to have. Check it out at 20echo.com and you'll see it more on Bayou Wild TV.
Here's how I guarantee my crawfish tastes great every time. I use what the pros use. I use Louisiana Fish Fry brand seafood boil. Why do the pros use Louisiana Fish Fry seafood boil?
Because, guys, it has more herbs and spices.
It has a much better flavor.
It's easy. Just pour and boil.
Louisiana Fish Fry brand seafood boil. Find the yellow bag, pour and boil for great crawfish every time.
So you've seen Chef John Folse on plenty of our shows throughout the year, and he's a great author as well. All of his recipes are documented. They're in big, thick encyclopedia cookbooks that more like tell stories. Got hooks, lies, and alibis after the hunt. I'm going to sit down with Chef John Folse and talk about those books.
And he's the only man I know who could write a book this thick called Can You Dig It? All about vegetables.
Absolutely.
And also the history and background of each of those, fishing, hunting, and also agriculture. John Folse, Chef John Folse.
I've been in the book business for a long time, and I'm a self-publisher. So I have my own publishing company, which allows us to do what we want to do. I found out early on that most of the great cookbooks were falling out of date. Like, say, the Times-Picayune cookbook that was 100 years old. They were talking about things that they did 100 years ago. The technique was great, but you don't cook that way anymore. And I thought there was a need for a book that would catch that 100-year history that had happened and bring it up to date. So that's when Michelle Yark and I decided to sit down and research the Encyclopedia of Cajun and Creole Cuisine. I never dreamed it would take 6 years to write, and I never dreamed that it would be the book we wrote. We were just doing a recipe book. But then we realized that we couldn't write the recipes without talking about the people. We couldn't talk about the people without talking about the ingredients that they brought here. And we couldn't talk about even that without the intermarriages of these people. What happened when a German married an Italian? What happened in that kitchen? That's New Orleans cuisine, that's Louisiana. And then I realized we had a book on every subject to tell that story. So for the last 20 years, from the encyclopedia, which has been, now the selected cookbook in most culinary schools on Cajun and Creole, to my latest book, the Encyclopedia, Can You Dig It, of Vegetables, which just took the largest award of a cookbook in the world. It took the Ben Franklin Award, which is the #1 book in its category globally. So I think we've done a good job of doing our books, but our message has always been the same. Tell the story first, praise the people, and tell us what they cooked. And that's the success of the book. Again, Scotch is really good, red wine is good, rum is good, all of those flavors. So by searing in the outside of that meat over high heat, that's why I had the smoke in the skillet, I can turn this over and you can see how brown that is already.
Lock it in.
Take a look at that.
Looks delicious.
Yeah. Now I would take all of these onion, celery, bell pepper, just go ahead and surround it. Again, y'all, this is a classic vegetable to Louisiana, but you can use, cut them any shape you want. When I think of the people who helped me along the way to get where we are today, I tell you what, I can just look over Louisiana and say, everybody. Look at the ingredients from the swamp floor. Look at the gardens of Louisiana. Look at the fishermen and the hunters out there that's just so passionate about what they do. Go to these hunting camps. Let me tell you what, I've learned more about cooking going to sit around an old cast iron pot at a duck camp and watching some old guy who's been elevated to the greatest position you can possibly be. Not the camp owner, the cook. The cook in these camps are relegated to royalty. Oh yeah, right off of the fire, onto the, now you can get that
I'm ready to
spoon.
poke.
Oh, look at that, isn't that
Woo!
beautiful?
That's gorgeous.
Huh? Look at that
Look
pot
at
of,
smell that.
oh,
Boy, that's when you wish there was smell of this. This is incredible.
and let's see what that possum looks like all the way on the bottom. Oh, look at that little piece of meat right there. You want a little, want to get a little pinch of that, huh? Look like you might, just grab a little piece with your hand there, huh? They're doing what they've always done to make the duck and the deer and all of that so nice. What I'm changing a little bit today is treating that game and that fish in a way that I want to elevate it. I want people to know that not only do we have the best product, we have the best product to come and visit Louisiana to catch and hunt, but then when you get it home, don't throw it in the freezer. Don't just sit there and cook it to death. That's why I wrote the book After the Hunt, so that you had 600 ways. Somebody told me the other day, they said, you have more ways to cook a goose than any man I ever saw. I said, well, you know what, I had my goose cooked pretty much. The brine is going all the way through. The meat is totally flavored at this point. I can add just a little more of a touch of that pepper on this side, a little more garlic. And I don't want to rush this. I would just kind of let it go. I want the skin to crisp up nicely. And I would let it just simmer here. I can go into a 350-degree oven in a minute and let it sit. I put a thermometer in it, get it up to about 135 or 140. And let me tell you what, we've done award-winning television for PBS. My show's on Create Worldwide every day worldwide. Every American troop overseas is watching my television show thanks to Create. But the topics I speak about, the ingredients and the recipes, the stories I tell, come from people like Don Dubuque and all of those wonderful people I've met along the way. I didn't come up with them myself. This is the modern day Lewis and Clark. There it is, y'all, the Louisiana bullfrog, huh? Have you ever seen two masters like us working together? And so, he's dying for, he's going crazy for you, huh? I dreamed of one day having someone of this caliber stir my pot. I think the thing that surprises people most is what is my most favorite dish, and that's a can of Vienna sausage. You know? I could pop the top, I could shake them out, I could eat half of them, and I could give one to each one of my little dogs, and they love me. So, that's my favorite dish.
They're one of the hardest fishes to catch and one of the tastiest to eat. We've got Nathaniel Burton's stuffed flounder coming up.
And he was the king of it, he was the king.
In 1967, Dutch Stogner realized his dream to run his own meat market. 50 years and 3 generations later, Double D and the Stogner family still operate with Dutch's original commitment to quality. Pick up some Double D sausage today and share your good times with us on Facebook.
Discover the taste of Louisiana that's seasoned just right. Boiled to perfection. Enriched with tradition. A taste that's savory, crispy, and a little sweet. Discover the taste of Louisiana fish fry products.
Find out if alternative treatment is the answer to your pet's health issues. Contact Dr. G at vetnaturally.com.
We're here at White Oak Plantation with Chef John Folse. Now, flounder, it's a fish I have not caught yet in Louisiana. They're one of the hardest fish to catch and one of the best to eat. And a lot of people like to stuff them. And so we're going to make a Nathaniel Burton stuffed flounder.
Nathaniel Burton was the executive chef at Broussard's restaurant, the old Broussard's restaurant. And he was known for his stuffed flounder. People came from from the panhandle of Florida, all the way in on a Saturday night to get Nathaniel. And then eventually, as a Creole cook, he was an African-American chef heading up one of the top restaurants in New Orleans. And he wrote the first book on Creole cooking. He wrote The Creole Feast by Modern Day Cook. And he brought all these African-American chefs together to do it. And he's the one who told me about this stuffing, and I'll never forget what he said. Now, this was 30 years ago. He said, John, you only need one stuffing.
Yes.
It goes with everything, whether it's meat or fish. You got to have the best stuffing. That'll take care of the rest.
All right.
So we're doing his stuffing today, but you know, do people ever come to you and just give you a little thing and say, you got to try my seasonings?
I've had two different people. So
probably today about 7 o'clock this morning. Well, Bill Oliver, who's a great friend of mine from New Orleans, brought me this one. It's Nani's Creole Seasoning.
Nani's Creole Seasoning.
And he said, you have to try this on something. Now, I've never tried it, so today I'm going to put it on our
All right, we'll see how it goes.
So let's talk about our stuffing. I have my pan here, so I'm going to go down into it with I'm going to put a little buttery flavored oil in here, because Nathaniel Burton said,
Can't skimp on butter.
You start off with a pound of butter.
Oh,
he
my.
said, no, it didn't matter what you start
Whatever
off
it
with
was,
yeah. So let me go with all of the seasonings: onion, celery, bell pepper, garlic. Throw it right down in there. Just shove it down in there. There you go. And again, this is where the moisture comes from. When you put all of these seasonings in, you're adding moisture. So you already have good butter. You can smell that already, right? So you want to just kind of swirl that around. You're picking all of that. Because again, what he said is true. Whether you're stuffing flounder, whether you're doing a roulade of a speckled trout, around some stuffing a breast of chicken, it's all about the stuffing. And to him, seafood went inside the chicken.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah,
seafood goes with anything.
No, absolutely. So now throw me a little salt, pepper, granulated garlic in there. There you go, just like that. And what we're doing is just bringing the moisture out of the vegetables. Now we're going to go in. I have a little garlic over there, which is the next most important thing. See that garlic? Look how much we have, right? Let me pull it on out of there. And y'all, I want you to look at the volume of that garlic. You see it?
A lot of it.
Don't be
3 tablespoons,
Don't
easily.
Be bashful. That's right. Get it in there. And this freezes well, so you can make your stuffing in advance.
If it makes it that long.
Yeah. Now let's go in with the end of our dishes right there. And just, you can dump it. Just dump it right down in there. That's the way Nathaniel Burton did it.
Dump it in there.
Now crab. Now I know what you're saying. You can just dump all that crab down in there.
Happily.
Yeah, just dump it in. Nathaniel said you don't have to worry about whether you're stuffing a meat or a fish.
With a fish.
You want to make sure you put all of this in it. So even with, unless you're seafood intolerant, which I don't know much about that. Okay, give me a little bit of that lemon.
Wouldn't that
juice.
be unfortunate?
That would be very unfortunate in Louisiana. Little bit of lemon. You see what I'm doing? I'm putting it
whole
right
lemon
down.
slices.
Whole lemon. I want all of that in there just like that. And give me a little bit of that seasoning on the other side. There
Paprika?
I'm gonna put a little paprika in here. Then I'm gonna put just to kind of change that color. And give me a little bit of that white wine. Okay. See the white wine right there? Yep. Just give me a little bit of that. Just put a little touch in here, not too much. That's good right there. All right, now we're going to let this simmer for a little while. It's going to all come together nicely, and when we come back, we're going to go ahead and stuff something with it. So go ahead and put a little bit of the stock in, too. And, oh, yeah, we'll just let this cook.
Here's how I guarantee my crawfish tastes great every time. I use Louisiana Fish Fry brand seafood boil. Why do the pros use Louisiana Fish Fry seafood boil?
Because the flavor is so good.
It has more garlic, onion, paprika, lemon, and not too much salt.
It has much better flavor.
Louisiana Fish Fry brand seafood boil. Find the yellow bag and pour and boil for great crawfish every time.
In 1967, Dutch Stogner realized his dream to run his own meat market. 50 years and 3 generations later, Double D and the Stogner family still operate with Dutch's original commitment to quality. Pick up some Double D sausage today and share your good times with us on Facebook.
So we've got the beginnings of our stuffing here, and there's only a few more things to add.
Yeah, I'm gonna just add the seasoned breadcrumbs. You look at the moisture in here, that's all from the seafood. And then what you're gonna put in?
A little bit of Nani's Creole
Bill
seasoning.
Oliver's Nana seasoning. We're gonna try it out and we'll let Bill know if it's good. But hey, thank y'all for dropping these spices off. Now, okay, so I'll mix all of that in. We have some already cold. Take a look at
Look how much meat you get out of this. It's completely butterflied and deboned, so you can eat the entire flounder.
Absolutely, you can eat the whole thing, and that was Nathaniel Burton style. Now then I'm gonna take a bunch of this stuffing that has all the crab.
Been chilled already?
All chilled. I'm gonna put it right down in the center like that. I think you have the idea.
Oh my gosh, that's enough to eat for 3 days.
Oh yeah.
Zip it back up like a suit.
Zip it up. I'd put it in a bag with a little butter and a little seasoning on the top of it. I'd put a couple lemon slices in like that before it goes in the oven. I'd season the outside of it. You know what I'm talking about.
How long does this go in the oven for?
Well, you want to warm the stuffing all the way up because it goes in cold, so it's going to take about 35, 40 minutes, okay? And that's what it looks like when it's all said and done.
So now you know why everyone gets excited when they catch a flounder, because you may only catch one, but look what you can do with it.
Ooh, and it's
Nathaniel
all deboned.
Burton's stuffed flounder.
Oh, thank you, Nathaniel. Thank you.
In 1967, Dutch Stogner realized his dream to run his own meat market. 50 years and 3 generations later, Double D and the Stogner family still operate with Dutch's original commitment to quality. Pick up some Double D sausage today and share your good times with us on Facebook.
Hi, I'm Donnie Rouse. There are a lot of different reasons to shop at Rouses.
It's the people. Everybody that works here is just so nice.
Our stores get deliveries 7 days a week.
They have such a wide variety at Rouses. Everything's in stock. I mean, everything.
We use Rouse family recipes and ingredients found right here in the store.
It's the food. Rouse's food tastes like homemade.
And they're local.
Like us.
We also have great prices.
That's the difference Rouses makes.
Discover the taste of Louisiana that's seasoned just right. Boiled to perfection. And rich with tradition. A taste that's savory, crispy, and a little sweet. Discover the taste of Louisiana fish fry products. Beginning next week, Year in Review. Some of your favorite shows, some of my favorite shows. Should we do some of Chris's favorite shows? I'm sure he's got the favorites too.
And I have a feeling they may not be the same as some of our favorites.
And we'd like to know what your favorite is too. Go to our social media at BayouWildTV.com and cast your vote for the favorite episode of Bayou Wild you watched sometime in the year 2018. There may just be a nice prize in it for you.
Absolutely.
Don't forget, catch us on Facebook, Instagram, Outdoors with Don Dubuque Radio Network, Saturday mornings from 5 to 7. And by all means, be back here again next week for another edition of Bayou Wild TV.